Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of thevikingage.com. My name is Chris Schad. I write for the Viking Age as well as Bring Me the News and the Brookings Register and Zone Coverage as well. My co-host is Adam Patrick, who is the managing editor of the Viking Age podcast. We do this every Monday and Thursday night right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. And we are on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, don't forget to rate, comment, like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we spread the word to the masses. Now, I think we're live because I had a Garrett Bradbury false start before the show. So if you're joining us live,
Ed Ingram now.
Yes, I should just change my name to Ed Ingram at this point. But if you're watching this after the fact, because I can't handle the opportunity, I can't handle, as Roman Reigns would call it, I can't handle the burden of putting on this show each and every week live with Adam Patrick, especially when we have a Vikings victory to talk about, because the Vikings defeated the Panthers 21-13 on Sunday. The Chiefs, they barely squeaked by the Jets on Sunday Night Football, and now they come to US Bank Stadium. But you know what? They're in trouble. You know why? Because the Vikings are back. We are fucking back, baby. Let's go.
Would you say the Chiefs? I guess if the Chiefs lose to the Vikings on Sunday, you could say they knew they were trouble.
They knew, yes. Yes. I'm not even going to go into Taylor Swift references. Not this early in the show.
Okay.
Like, we were talking about it a little bit beforehand. It's like, everybody's like, Patrick Mahomes is like, no, let's look at what we just watched before we get into that. And we'll get into the Chiefs a little bit later. But seriously, do you think the Vikings are back after that win, or what are we feeling after beating Carolina last night?
I don't know what to feel, because the Panthers are terrible. Like, they were bad. And actually, you know what? They probably would have been better off yesterday, and they might have had a better chance at winning if Andy Dalton started instead of Bryce Young. Andy Dalton, who's had a little bit of success against the Vikings in the past, and a little more savvy, probably would have done a better job against that pass rush. But who knows? The Vikings still could have won. But the Vikings got to take advantage of Bryce Young, and they didn't blitz him as much as they blitzed Justin Herbert, which is kind of odd. But their plan worked, and they were able to, I think they generated 15 pressures, and they got 5 sacks. And they've got the sack fumble return for a touchdown, which was like a huge turning point of the game. It just like totally flipped momentum right after that. But yeah, I'm not so sure about the Vikings yet. If they beat the Chiefs, okay, then we can talk about them, going on a little run and making the playoffs. Also, I think if they beat the Chiefs, then they're gonna they're gonna pull a classic Vikings and lose to the Bears the following week. Which would be terrible, but
I don't know. The Bears are like,
they're really bad.
What's worse than a dumpster fire? Like,
they're a dumpster fire on the inside and the outside.
They are
like, is their coach? Are they going to have the same coach when they play the Vikings?
They are a steaming pile of flaming crap.
Yeah, it's bad. What were they up 27-3 yesterday and they lost? Yeah.
Well, yes. There was the game, and then there was whatever is going on with Chase Claypool, because if you didn't see the Chicago Bears press conference, he came out and he's like, we sent him home because of the team. And everybody's like, but why? Well, because of the team. Well, what did you say? The team. Like, if you want to drink every time Matt Eberflus, who sounds like a Sprockets character, if you want to drink every time he says, because of the good of the team, whatever. That was it's very entertaining. Go check it out. That's all.
So what you're saying is Kevin O'Connell is much better at coming up with lies and excuses than Matt Eberflus is.
Kevin O'Connell's just good at like just throwing words. So like he'll have like 300 words, but it doesn't really mean anything. Just like, there are things on a Sunday sometimes, and your quarterback stares down a receiver and then he goes 96 yards and then that's called a touchdown. And I think it's like the John Madden thing where he just like dumbs it down to like Taylor Swift fans who don't watch football all the time, where he's just like, that's a touchdown when the ball crosses the plane over there. And, we've really told Kirk, hey, don't throw the ball to the other team, especially when you're in the red zone at the 2-yard line. And we preach that the entire week. I look at this game and I just look and I go, what has changed? And I don't think I can list too many things that changed. Kirk Cousins is still uneven at quarterback. Justin Jefferson's still amazing. We can talk about that. But again, you beat a bad team.
Yeah.
You beat a bad team and you're still not able to beat the good ones. And, I expected them to win this game, even when they were down 10-0, because Carolina is a bad team. They have a lot of problems going on right now. But the Vikings were never going 0-17 and getting Caleb Williams. Like, we could get excited. We could make Photoshops. We can do all those cool things. They're just not going. That's not going to happen. It's not reality. They might not even get Drake May. The Vikings' problem is this is still a very flawed team. This is still a team that does a lot of dumb stuff. This is still a team that has its issues. And it's a team that doesn't have, I would liken it to a player in Mortal Kombat who sees finish him and they don't know the fatalities. Like, they're just sitting there and they just punch him down instead. Like, Kirk Cousins, he doesn't do the spine rip. Like, he just, finish him.
Yeah, he doesn't know when to just keep the foot on the gas and just put him away. I would say yesterday there were a couple of differences in what we've seen so far from the Vikings this season. There was Marcus Davenport, who played more than 4 snaps, and apologies to him, because I think a lot of people, including myself, maybe even you, were a little probably not nice about him not playing.
All I said is I thought he was holding it.
Right.
That's all I said. And I don't know.
It was
probably an unhinged take.
Yeah, and his press conferences are just kind of quirky, and I'm just assuming now that that's just the way he is, and that doesn't really have anything to do with his injury. It's just how he responds to questions. Because yesterday after the game, he talked about how the first month was pretty tough because he actually he's sitting down, so he notices people writing about him and talking about him, and he was thankful for his teammates to kind of tell him to keep his head up. And then he got in the game yesterday, and he made a big difference. And the Vikings didn't have to blitz as much because he was able to generate pressure without them having to do that. And I think he had 3 pressures and 1 sack.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cam Akers on the other side of the ball. What do you have? 5 carries for 40 yards, which is almost more than Alexander Madison had in his first 2 games combined. I think I think by Thanksgiving, that seems too far away even, but by Thanksgiving, Cam Akers will be the number 1 back on the Vikings. Because Alexander Madison, every time, there's a noticeable difference. Like yesterday, just Cam Akers got the ball 5 times, and Madison carried the ball the rest of the time. But there was a noticeable difference between Akers being able to kind of just see holes and avoid contact, where Madison just seems like a battering ram, where he just gets the ball, runs into guys. He's all over the place. He doesn't avoid contact. He seeks it out, and that's kind of what seems to hold him back from becoming a better back. But those are the 2 noticeable things I noticed that were different yesterday, and the use of Harrison Smith. It seemed like that was the way Harrison Smith was used in the Mike Zimmer defense, the 2016, 17, 18 season, when Harrison Smith was just, a heat-seeking missile all over the place, just pretty much doing whatever he wanted out on the field. And that was vintage Harrison Smith yesterday, and it was a very pleasant surprise.
Well, good job running down the entire show in the open. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about each thing a little bit and just dive in, because I know you just basically gave all of your takes, but I said what went right for the Vikings, and let's just start there. They won, so
yeah.
Let's be positive. Let's talk about what went right. And I think the first thing that I said was Harrison Smith. because on Saturday night, he was fined $21,000 for impermissible use of his helmet. And it's always a different like amount each time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they have like a Wheel of Fortune wheel where like Roger they should just televise. They televise everything else in the NFL.
They have a hat and they pick out words and then they just combine them and then this is your fine.
Roger Goodell is just like wheel of punishment. Like all of a sudden they're like showing up on TV like this hit by Harrison Smith. Yeah, but he didn't get flagged. Well, let's hope it's the no fine. Like just spinning around. Sunday he took it out on the Panthers because he was used properly. Brian Flores only blitzed on 35% of defensive plays on Sunday.
It's funny you say only 35%.
Yeah, well, and it's still a lot compared to Ed Donatel, but it seems like a reasonable amount because the week before it was 80. So they dropped by 50% from the week before. Harrison Smith, I know he didn't get a good PFF grade. A lot of Vikings fans are upset about that because we worry about like postseason awards and PFF grades and where Kirk Cousins ranks in history. But what did you think about Harrison Smith's performance against the Panthers?
I just like I said, I think he was vintage Harrison Smith. He was able to just kind of play more freely. I think they used not a lot. Well, I guess a lot, but they used like 3 or 4 safeties on the field at a time. So he wasn't feeling the need to like have to drop back into coverage probably as much. He could stay up by the line, try and stop the run. Go after the quarterback, and just make plays like he has his entire career. And this is what, game 5. So maybe Brian Flores sees this game, and he's like, you know what, we need to do more of this because this is what Harrison Smith's good at, and it makes our defense better if he's able to do this stuff. So I'll be curious to see if he does something similar against Patrick Mahomes on Sunday when they play the Chiefs. But who knows what they're going to do against the Chiefs, because it's just a difficult animal to figure out. Or is it? Because the Chiefs this year, they don't seem like a powerhouse like they have been in the past. Like it's Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and Chris Jones. That's pretty much.
And don't forget Taylor Swift, but go on.
And Isaiah Pacheco. So, I think the Chiefs are favored by 6 or 7 right now. It seems a little high for the way that both teams are playing right now. Vikings will be at home and everything. Well, I feel like I'm just convincing myself right now.
I was about to say, are you just trying to get out of here early today or what? Like all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, and we're going to talk about this and that, and I gotta go. I got pizza on the way, or
I really want to watch Raw tonight because I think Nia Jax is on. No, no, it's just things that are popping in my head, just because everything's all tied together. But Harrison Smith, yeah, he just played out of his mind yesterday, and I hope that Brian Flores continues to use him in the same way that he did yesterday, because it benefits the entire defense if he's allowed to do stuff like that.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell during his post-game press conference mentioned, it was like one of those athletic like introductions. Like that's what Matthew Caller calls him. It's like deep in thought. Kevin O'Connell sat down with Brian Flores and he said, "How can we unlock Harrison Smith?" Like that's basically what they did. And Harrison Smith blitzed on 20% of his snaps against the pass on Sunday. He blitzed on just 12 of 593 snaps, 2% against the pass last season. Now, yeah, I mean, the whole Ed Donatel thing, like, I don't really know what happened. Like, maybe he got here and he's like, everybody is slow. We need to, we can't blitz because nobody's going to get home. So we're just going to play coverage all the time. Yeah. That could have been an outcome. But I think using Smith as kind of an in-the-box safety a little bit more, I mean, he's not going to get 3 sacks every game. Like, that's just not going to happen. No. That's why I look at this and like maybe that's unsustainable. But I do think the addition of Marcus Davenport helped the Vikings out a lot, because I mean, yeah, the Holden thing was a bit unhinged. Like, I don't know, like the Vikings have this like us against the world type thing. Ed Ingram went online yesterday, and
oh yeah,
first we need to stop like just lighting up people on social media, but it also happens. Like people are like, you should go to the XFL. Like, you can't do what I do. And it was like,
I would like to think that
we're
it's kids.
taking a step up from the whole Madison thing. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I would like to think that it's just teenage kids doing that and not adults.
Right.
But I know there's some adults that are idiots as well. But I would say the majority is probably just dumb kids just being like, you suck.
Yeah.
You ruined my fantasy team.
In a perfect world, like we wouldn't have this at all. It just happens. And you know what? I mean, yeah, I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, like, are we just going to do that every time now? Like anytime somebody mentions somebody like Kirk Cousins goes on Twitter and somebody be like, yeah, you suck, Kirk.
Well, that's
Kirk might obsess about that and like keep him awake at night. It's like,
it sucks, but
stare
that's
at his
like
math test or
that's the world we live in. I learned during my writing career a long time ago, not to read the comments, or at least not to read them immediately. Go a couple days later and be like, huh, that's funny. And check them out, or else you're just gonna get in your own head and get mad, even from praise. Like, just it's gonna get in your own head and think you're something you're not. But like, it just makes me think of like the Davenport situation, how he probably was just bombarded with messages online, and writers writing condescending headlines about his availability. Not that I would ever do that. So yeah, I'm happy for Davenport because he came out and he proved a lot of people wrong yesterday with his performance. Now he needs to stay healthy, because if he's just, because this happened with the Saints a lot. This happened during his career. He'd have a good performance, and then maybe a few weeks later be back on the injured list and be out. So let's hope this isn't just another example of that, and he's able to stay healthy for the majority of the season. And if he is, I think this Vikings defense is just completely different than what we saw the first 3 weeks.
3 pressures and a sack. He doubled last year's total in sacks, so he's off to a great start for the season on just 31 pass snaps. So that's pretty good. Vikings limited a little bit as he returned from his ankle injury, but Kevin O'Connell liked what he saw, so he kind of let him play a little bit more than originally planned, and everything looks good. I look at this, and you kind of mentioned it yourself. Is this sustainable? Because we looked at, I mean, the whole ankle thing, that's a big concern moving forward. But I mean, I also look at the Vikings opponent, because the Vikings did not allow an offensive touchdown on Sunday.
Right.
Honestly, they played pretty well.
You know when the last time they did? Or last time they did that?
What's that?
Where they didn't allow an offensive touchdown?
2017? 2018?
They did do it in those years, but 2020. I think it was it was the Bears. Yeah, right.
They were like ungodly.
It was the Vikings Bears Monday night game. I think Adam Thielen had like a one-handed catch, and they didn't. That's right. And Cordero Patterson had the only touchdown for the Bears.
Was that the you like how that tastes game?
Might be.
Where
might
like
have been.
Zimmer tried to do the you like that, and he's like, you
been,
like how that tastes, and he's like, no, we don't.
That was a Monday night game with what, Steve Levy and Louis Riddick and Brian Greasy on the call, and no one was in the stands because it was COVID. So yeah, 2020 was the last. So yesterday was the first time in the Kevin O'Connell era that their defense didn't allow an offensive touchdown. And I looked it up before. I think Mike Zimmer, during his 8 seasons, they did it 9 times. So he's got a ways to go to catch up to that. And it's not surprising because Ed Donatell's defense was terrible last year. So,
and look at who they're working with.
Right.
Like I don't know, like a slow motion Eric Kendricks. No offense to Eric Kendricks, one of the greatest Vikings of all time. I'm just saying, not a lot of speed last year.
No.
I mean, just look at the Panthers though. Bryce Young shouldn't be playing right now.
No.
He shouldn't. He should be on the bench, kind of soaking in reps like Zach Wilson style, or what. Zach Wilson's probably a bad comparison, although he looked great last night. But
Patrick Mahomes.
Jordan Love. Just Alex Smith, another great one. Alex Smith, good. I mean,
but I mean, why do you sign Andy Dalton if? Like, that's an expensive backup. Like,
he's the reason Adam Thielen went to Minnesota.
I saw this.
And Adam Thielen, 7 catches, 76 yards, and 8 targets, by the way. Opportunities, right?
and one freak out at the end of the game.
He was excited. He was, excited to see everybody and say hello. He bought a coffee for the equipment guy. I
He
saw
said he spent like
that.
an hour before the game talking to everybody.
Just
what
like
are you
talking
doing?
to everybody. Like, I like, honestly, it's probably exciting for him to see a lot of the guys that he knew over his 10 years here. But I mean,
is he miserable?
Dude.
Is he miserable in Carolina, you think?
I don't know, man.
He will never admit it.
He was miserable here last year,
and
he was like second on the team in targets. He's like, I'm not the top weapon.
Would he be? What would he be? Would he be number 3 this year?
Probably number 2 because Jordan Addison nearly got
block.
Justin Jefferson killed on a screen. Which, can we stop calling screens for? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's just like, and like the Panthers ran one. I'm like, oh, that's what it looks like. But like, we just keep going, God, it's not working, guys. Let's try it again.
And then if it does work, it's an eligible man downfield because someone's too far downfield. Thielen. Remember he said he went to the Panthers because of Andy Dalton, and he felt like they had a chance to compete for a Super Bowl. Now they're 0-4.
Well, and he also, during the press conference on Wednesday, they asked him, they're like, oh, so why'd you come to Carolina? He's like, well, they released me. I didn't have a choice. And I don't know if the Vikings like offered him a pay cut. Maybe they didn't.
I'm sure they did.
But I mean, you're telling me the Wolves didn't want to keep him around? Right. They're like, hey, we're probably going to well, you want to at least try to keep him around? Sure, it's probably not going to work, but okay.
He mentioned that the Cowboys were interested in him this offseason. Why did you not go there? Oh, I know. Because the Panthers gave you more money. Yeah.
More money. And again, by all accounts, he seems like a good dude. I mean, NFL is short. If that's what's important to you, go get your money. Also, decent weather in Carolina. Not bad.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad. And their stadium looks awesome too. But
if you're gonna suck in Carolina, not in Denver, not in Chicago.
Like, just kind of getting back on Carolina though, I think Frank Reich is a bad coach. I think he's I don't think he's very good. Like, he's in Indianapolis. Look at that whole run in Indiana. Like, I'm gonna get the best out of Phillip Rivers, who's like 40. I'm gonna get the best out of Carson Wentz. I'm gonna get, and now it's like Bryce Young, and the guy can't seem to do anything. And maybe it's because he's a young quarterback. But the other thing that kind of concerns me from yesterday, Carolina had the ball for 38 minutes. Yeah. You know what that tells me? Vikings couldn't get off the field. And when they did get off the field, fumble and 6 by DJ Wanham.
Yep.
DJ Wanham also had a chance for a pick 6, I think, or at least a pick and go a really long way because that was right in his bread basket. He missed. That's why you're playing defensive end. But I don't know. I don't think the defense is fixed. I feel a lot better about the running game after yesterday because, like you mentioned, Cam Akers looked pretty good. They got him out in space. He looks more explosive than Madison. Madison had 1795. Akers went 5 of 40. After the game, Kevin O'Connell said he wanted to use both players moving forward and sprinkle in Ty Chandler. Maybe it's like running back Bay or something.
What? 2 plays? Yeah.
Isn't that the name? Salt Bay, the guy with the super. Like Kevin O'Connell on the sideline, like getting Ty Chandler on there. But Ty Chandler didn't get a carry on Sunday.
Well, the Vikings offense didn't really do their defense any favors either. They only ran 45 plays.
Yeah.
So it's not like they were having these super long drives either. Credit to the Panthers defense for trying to at least keep their team in the game, but the offense just couldn't do anything. I don't know what their plan is, if this is just like a year for Bryce Young to kind of try and just figure things out. And then next year is where you try and win games because they're not trying to get the number 1 pick because they don't need a quarterback. Maybe they do. But did you see Frank Reich yesterday after the game admitted he called a play for Adam Thielen when Thielen wasn't in the game? And that's one of the times they had to take a timeout.
Hey, you know what? The Vikings had 10 players on the field on a 4th and 1 too. So I guess it happens, right?
But you're the head coach, and if you want to call the plays, you should probably know who's on the field.
Right.
So yeah, that was Not good. Yeah, I thought before he was with Carolina, I always thought like Frank Reich struggling with the Colts was more due to ownership, like Jim Irsay kind of
Oh,
like.
I think it was a cocktail.
Because he was able to kind of just squeeze whatever juice was left out of Phillip Rivers. He was.
I see what you did there.
What?
Cocktail, a little juice, little whiskey burps. Go
Yeah.
on.
Did he never got a chance to work with Andrew Luck, right? Because Andrew Luck retired like the year that Reich arrived. I feel like that preseason is when he
Let me
was
look.
like, I'm good, because I think I want to say, what's his name? Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback in his first year.
I'm looking here.
And then it was Rivers, and then it was Wentz, and then what was last year? Did he get fired? How long was he there? Or did he have a year or two with Frank
I
Reich?
think no, he got fired because remember they hired Jeff Saturday and he wasn't
Oh, yeah.
scared, bro. But yeah.
Thank you for
Andrew
doing
Luck
that.
Andrew Luck played 1 year with Frank Reich. Frank Reich took the job in 2018. Andrew Luck was there. He threw 39 touchdowns, 15 interceptions,
How many times did he get
or
sacked?
4,500 yards.
How many times did he get
Let me
sacked?
look. Sack 18.
That's it?
18
Wow.
times in 12 games.
Huh.
So that's not bad.
Have you listened to the Andrew Luck podcast? I think it's on The Athletic.
I have.
Yeah,
Yes.
where he talked about like his
great.
spleen was like lacerated and everything, and like his like
I want to hear
kidneys
Andrew
were.
Luck actually talk about his spleen. Oh, my spleen. Really. It wasn't good. He's like quarterback Yoda.
There's I listen
the
to
war is over. Sorry.
It is. No, that's funny. I listen to the Bill Simmons podcast, and they do they'll make fun of like they call him Andrew the Giant Luck because he sounds like Andre the Giant, and he's doing like fake wrestling promos like live from the War Memorial in Rochester, New York. It's Andrew the Giant Luck. What do we have to say for this? And he's like, oh. Yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, Frank Reich's not good. I wouldn't be surprised if who's the guy in there, Josh McCown, if he kind of sneaks in there either next year or the year after as their next head coach, because I think that's probably who they wanted, and everyone's just like, well, let's put him on the coaching staff for now and see. Because didn't the Texans like want to hire him, and then everyone
The Texans
was like,
wanted to do it like 5 times, but like nobody else hired a minority
but
coach.
they're
like,
yeah.
Lovey Smith.
And they had the whole Deshaun Watson thing going on, so they were like, all right, let's. And I think the Brian Flores thing was going on at that time too with the Dolphins, so they were just like, let's just hire guys that we're gonna fire in a year. So yeah,
who's the guy before? Oh, Ed. No, not Ed Cooley. He's the Providence.
He was from the Ravens. I can't even remember his name.
Oh,
he was like 70 years old.
Yeah, that poor guy.
I mean, he got paid. So
Houston Texans.
Like, he knew what he was in there for. I'm pretty sure, because he was in and out of there pretty quick. I'm pretty sure they're like, you're gonna be here, we're gonna suck, and you're gonna get paid a lot. So enjoy your post career, just reaping and enjoying the millions.
His name was David Culley.
Yep. He was with the Ravens for a long time. But yeah, just the Panthers are not good. That's why I'm a little hesitant today to be like, ooh, the Vikings are back, because they beat a team they should have. And you look at the Vikings' first 3 games on their schedule now, those opponents, they're pretty good right now. Bucks are 3-1, Chargers are 2-2 now. They destroy the Raiders. And the Eagles, of course, are undefeated. So they played some pretty tough teams, and they only lost by 1 possession for each of those. So the Vikings are talented. They just gotta stop with the self-inflicted wounds. It's just every week they're driving, and then Kirk throws a pick 6. They're driving, Madison fumbles. So it's just like, or Kirk throws an interception on the goal line. Like, haven't they had like 4 turnovers in the goal line this year? Like, that's like a season-long stat, if that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the running game, but we can talk about Kirk.
Why?
Well, nothing was his fault, so he got a Kirk win. If you talked to him, you would have thought the Vikings would have lost by 40. He's
Right.
like Jerry Burns without the swear words, where it's like,
He says, "Dang it,
frick." As long as I'm the frickin' quarterback, we're
gosh
gonna
darn it."
like. So the pick six in the first quarter. That's how I knew we were in trouble offensively, especially in the passing game. Running game was fine. I liked what they did in the running game with Cam Akers, Alexander Madison. That's the plan they wanted all along. Problem was Dwayne McBride turned out to be a bust. He was not Isaiah Pacheco. Kirk Cousins on the first drive drives him right down the field, as he is apt to do. Opening drive, everything scripted, goes perfectly to plan. He throws a touchdown to Justin Jefferson on a very long developing play, and Josh Oliver gets called for holding. Very next play, he stares a hole through KJ Osborne and throws it right in the chest of a Carolina Panthers defender. What was the name of him?
Oh, I don't know.
Sorry. I thought you said the name.
I just said he threw it super late.
Yes. It was just okay. You're right. Okay, you ready? Okay, here it comes. And then it was just intercepted. And then he tries to make the tackle, which good on him. But I mean, he got vaporized, just destroyed. There are some Vikings fans who probably cheered for that shit. And at that point, you could see the flashbacks beginning, like that failed math test in high school that Alec Lewis talked about, the interception against Notre Dame. Maybe there was this talent show when he was a kid, when he was singing Pretty Woman and stuff from Oklahoma. And, maybe that was going through his head.
Fourth and one versus the Bills.
Yeah, just golly gee, frick. And then he got to the podium after the game. Like I said, it was like he lost. So, I mean, there's a human element here because I know what it's like when you make a mistake and you're really hard on yourself. I'll give you an example. At the Register, I don't think they have internet in Dubrook, so I can say this. There's this guy that emails us all the time, and he calls himself the bearer of bad news, which, okay, Wade Barrett, but more importantly, I had written the wrong location for a game. So he went on this big old spiel about how, people don't know where the game is. They won't be there. And it's well, you're a town of 300 people. So if that, you could probably figure out there's a game going on, but you know what I mean? I mean, even I feel bad about it because there are people who care. So I don't know. Why do you think Kirk Cousins goes south every time something goes wrong? Because most quarterbacks, let's look at Patrick Mahomes, just kind of goes, God, that play sucked. All right, let's throw some touchdowns. Kirk doesn't do that. And that's one of his big flaws.
Oh yeah, they say when you play cornerback or quarterback, you're supposed to have a short memory because
next play up.
Yeah, if you just dwell on things, it's gonna make it even worse, which is pretty much, I believe, probably what has held Kirk Cousins back his entire career, because he dwells on things for so long, weeks, months, years. And it holds him back from probably just reaching the potential that he actually has with the amount of arm talent and stuff that he has. I kind of was impressed though with the way Cousins came back in the second half, because he could have just sulked and just been checked down Charlie for the rest of the game, but he didn't. He still threw downfield to Jefferson. He still threw some passes that made you be like, okay, he's still firing out there. But yeah, that pick six, you cannot and the funny thing is TJ Hawkinson was that was a much better target choice for Kirk Cousins on that play. But he wasn't covered by two people, so he probably didn't want to throw it to him. But he threw it from the far hash to the far corner super late. It was just a terrible, terrible decision, and he knows it. Kevin O'Connell knows it. Pretty much everyone who's going to watch that film at the facility, not on Tuesday, will see that it was.
Took me a second to realize where you were going with that.
I'm just trying to.
I like the fact he takes Tuesdays off.
No,
if it helps to clear his head.
I said that because Mike Florio, I feel like, has been just trying to pound this point in the table about how Kirk Cousins isn't good because he doesn't go on Tuesdays. on everyone's off day, he doesn't go into the facility. It's like, dude, he has an iPad. He can just do it at home anyways. If you really wants to. It's not like he doesn't like. He wants to have a life too. It's okay.
The guy clearly gives a shit. Like,
Like he's
that if you're making that argument, it's because you feel, oh yeah, he values his personal life. Oh
yeah.
gosh, like that's horrible. Like
Maybe
I
you
don't
should take.
care. Like
Maybe Florio should take a page out of Cousin's book because Florio's working every day. He's all over the place all night and day. So maybe he should take a
that
page out of
dude's
that.
on edge. Like he just
He's
seems
a Vikings fan. It's just that's how you have to be.
yeah.
But he's describing him like he's Johnny Manziel, like he never watches tape, pretty much. Like that's the way that he's making it seem. Where it's like it's one day, dude, and everyone else is off. Like it's
I want to
okay.
see Kirko go Johnny Manziel. Actually, that'd be absolutely hilarious. Like I always say the old skit with Wayne Brady and Chappelle's show,
Yeah.
where like he hangs out with Wayne Brady and he like he's just yeah.
Kirk
Go
means,
Google it, kids.
Kirk means about like what 20 summer shandies to feel like that. They can get that way.
In a wine cooler.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Kirk's feeling good. They still have wine coolers. Is that
yeah.
the
Well,
thing?
is White? I feel like White Claw's got to be like the new. It's the cool wine cooler now. I feel like because it's not sugary. But it's everyone still drinks it.
I don't mind a white claw, or I don't mind a White Claw every now and then.
No,
they're not bad.
Mm-mm.
Especially like beer 12. You're like, but
I need some water. I'm gonna have a White Claw.
I'm gonna hydrate with a White Claw. Yeah.
But yeah, I what were we talking about?
This is a show that has just been off the rails. Like this isn't even on. We didn't even start on the rails. We just kind of went woo. Like you're driving, you jumped in the car, you just kind of spun some donuts.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And he's gonna like. I was thinking about this today because I was thinking about the Bills game last year where they got this great win over the Bills and they weren't supposed to win, but it was against the AFC team, so it really had no impact on their season whatsoever because who cares if you beat an AFC team? And I'm like, that's going to happen on Sunday. Like, they're going to beat the Chiefs. Everyone's going to be pumped because they beat the Chiefs. And I'm going to be like, okay, it has no impact on, like, their standing in the NFC, though. Like, that's, like, the last tiebreaker that you go to is, like, AFC opponents or common opponents or whatever. So that's why I texted you over the weekend, like, oh, everyone's going to try and convince themselves that the Vikings can beat the Chiefs. And I'm, like, sitting here all day today, like, they're going to do it, aren't they? They're going to beat the Chiefs, and then they're going to lose to the Bears, and then they're going to probably just get pounded by the Niners because the Niners are ridiculous. So,
yeah, I mean I don't know. It gets me back to the last, the beginning topic of the show where it's just kind of like this team's just in a holding pattern right now. And I mean, obviously, I want them to beat the Chiefs. Like that would be awesome. That would be fun. Everybody would be fired up for it. We'd be 2-3 going to Chicago, got a chance to get back to 500. I think a lot of people would. I don't think people have jumped off the bandwagon yet, but I feel like there's a lot of people who just don't feel right about this team, like you and I. And I mean, just getting back there, you reset there, and I don't know, get those 9 wins. I guess that would be.
Do you think Cousins stays with the Vikings this season, no matter what?
Yeah, like they're not going to trade him. They're not going to let him trade him.
If they're 1-what? They would have to be 1-6 before the.
They would have to lose their next 3 games, which is what? So yeah,
Chiefs, Bears.
It's possible. Niners. It is possible. I could see the Bears beating them. Like, yeah, I know we just crapped on the Bears, but it's at Soldier Field. Weird things have happened.
It's NFL.
And Justin Fields looked really good against the Vikings in his lone start last year.
Yeah, and it's the Vikings. Like, yeah, we've gone through this many times every year. Look at last night, the Jets and Chiefs. No one expected the Jets to lose by 3 points.
That's why I spent $50 on a wrestling pay-per-view.
Zach Wilson played out of his mind. No one expected that to happen. So yeah, you just never know, and it's setting up perfectly for that scenario for the Vikings to beat the Chiefs and lose to the Bears. Yeah, I would love to see the Vikings kind of shop Kirk Cousins, but his no trade clause kind of just negates all that because I just don't think he wants to move his family in the middle of a season. It's different in the off season where he can plan and he can pick where he wants to go. Um, I mean, he could basically pick where he wants to go now because he can say yes or no.
Yeah.
It's also tough for a quarterback, I feel like, to go into a new team middle of the season and just kind of pick up an offense. You think of like what Jimmy Garoppolo was it 2017 when the Niners traded for him, and I don't think he started for the first month because he just had to figure out the offense. And if you're trading for Kirk Cousins, you're probably not. You don't have a month to wait for him to pick up the offense. Now, if he goes to a team where he knows like a lot of the offense, like if Deshaun Watson gets hurt for a significant amount of time, and the Browns are like, hey, come over here. They have Stefanski, and he's had success with Kirk Cousins in the past, and he can be like, hey, we run similar things to this, just different terminology. So I don't know, man. I just saw a lot of Falcon stuff yesterday when they were pooping the bed against the Jaguars, where people were like, the Falcons should be the team that everyone's thinking about for Kirk Cousins. And I'm like, yeah, we talked about this a week ago. So
the last thing I'll just say about Kirk Cousins is in the latest PFF mock draft by friend of the show, Trevor Sigma, he said the Vikings taking a quarterback with the 5th overall pick, JJ McCarthy out of Michigan. Which
yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, if you're a Gopher fan, you'll get a close-up look at him. He's been really good, really accurate this year compared to last year. Took a big step forward. I don't know. He's athletic. He won't stand in the pocket when his offensive line is, crapping the
Well,
bed.
how hilarious.
Granted, the offensive line only allowed pressure on 23%
They
of snaps,
gave up
but
4 pressures yesterday.
yeah,
4 or
and I
5.
think one of them was when Kirk got his elbow hit and threw an interception. So not Kirk's fault. Not Kirk's fault if you're playing that game.
But how hilarious would it be that the Vikings would draft a quarterback who was coached by Jim Harbaugh in college after they passed up on him? They have to be like, hey, Jim.
Hi.
How's this kid? Is he he's he a good guy? Sorry about 2022. We just had other plans, and you really threw us off when you were saying you wanted to trade Kirk Cousins immediately. So we just couldn't work that relationship
out. Let's move on to the last part. Sunday, Vikings, Chiefs. We'll dive deeper into the later week episode, but I think we already answered it. Did Sunday's game make you feel any better? And really, I don't know. Like when your biggest storyline coming into the game is whether Taylor Swift will show up. I mean, really, here's what I think coming into the game, and it has nothing to do with on the field, which I don't know if you saw it. Byron Murphy said he's going to say something to Travis Kelce to get him going.
Yeah, I think that's been.
Could you not?
No, I think that's been unsurprisingly blown up by the aggregators who are just super annoying and would latch on anything like leeches just for likes. But I feel like that was probably him not. I haven't watched the clip or anything, so I don't think that he was like, yeah, I'm gonna rile Travis up by talking about Taylor. I'm sure he was asked probably a question like, hey, you're gonna talk trash to Travis Kelce, and he's probably like, yeah, I'll say something, and then just aggregators were like, he's gonna talk trash to Travis Kelce about Taylor Swift.
John Randall would have a field day with that.
John Randall would know Taylor Swift's home address.
Yeah, I go to her house, bro. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
He'd be like, I'm gonna hang out with her grandma after this. Like,
regulators mount up.
The fact that he was able, the fact that he was able to do that stuff pre-internet makes it even more fascinating. That he was like, go to Steve Young and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go. You live on so and so Boulevard, right? Yeah, I'll be over for dinner tomorrow. And Steve Young's sort of like, what?
How do you do what now?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be 50% Chiefs fans at US Bank Stadium.
You think so?
Maybe. Okay. 50s, maybe a little high. I think we're going to see a lot of red. And I don't think it'll just be Chiefs fans. I think it'll just be random Swifties in Minneapolis.
Are there a lot of bandwagon Chiefs
fans? Yeah, I know.
Now?
Well, I mean, Travis Kelce's jersey sales skyrocketed.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying like because I know when you grow up and there's the teams that are good. Like when we were growing up, it was like the Bulls and the Cowboys, and I guess the Packers were good when we were younger too. So are the Chiefs the new bandwagon team for kids, and they just want to like go and see them, kind of like if they're the Lakers or the
And
Cavs or something?
it's an easy trip.
But yeah, that too.
Like all you got to do is drive up I-35 6 hours, and you're in Minneapolis.
And the Chiefs have never played in US Bank Stadium, so I know a lot of. I've talked with some Chiefs fans, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to like get up there to see that stadium because obviously it's amazing."
I think there's going to be a significant Chiefs contingent making the trip up. And I think, Kirk Cousins, he was like, oh, the crowd's too loud. And it was all like Viking fans in week 3. Now that it's going to be like half Chiefs fans and, a quarter. I mean, I'm doing Steiner math here, but I mean, a quarter Taylor Swift fans and everything else. And I don't know, like this whole Kelce Swift relationship, it just seems like an unholy union to me. I know people are excited. And here's the good part about it. I saw a tweet last night that cracked me up because it said the NFL is accidentally learning that marketing your product to women is a good idea.
Yeah.
There are a lot of women who are watching football that normally wouldn't watch football because Taylor Swift is there. And also Taylor seems like she's having the time of her life.
Oh yeah.
Like she is having a freaking blast at these games. And I mean, it's good for her from a personal level because for a while she was dating like this streak of boyfriends who look like they still breastfed. Now there's Travis Kelce, who not my favorite guy, but whatever. But I mean, we're getting hit over the head with this shit. Like just over and over. Like there's Taylor Swift. We're going to show her again. Taylor is having a cocktail now. Taylor is cheery. Taylor's hanging out with Travis Kelce's mom, which get her off my TV screen too. Then we're going to go to a commercial for Travis Kelce for State Farm. Travis Kelce's brother, Jason Kelce for Campbell's Soup. Like it is over the top, like egregious. And as someone who is not the biggest Travis Kelce fan, I am over it. And like I said, that's why I ordered a $50 wrestling pay-per-view last night. That is my thought coming into this game because I just want to see, this is like a litmus test for the Vikings, right? Are you legit? Is all this good juju that we just got something good? Or is it just, we're going to go into the same shell, we're going to get our ass kicked by 40, and then we go, well, got a game against the Bears next week. I mean, we'll probably win that. And I don't know. It's still a 7-9 win team. And honestly, like I'm glad they won. I'm glad they beat Carolina, but I'm still just stuck on the whole. This is going to seem in the same way we do every year. We're just going to pick in the middle. We're not going to find a player to trade up. And I don't know.
Well, the thing I hear from people when me or you will say that is like, well, they can trade up. And it's like, not really.
You need somebody willing to trade down.
like, you're not going to trade from 20 to 3 unless you want to give up like your next 3 or 4 first round picks. And that's.
Hey, by the way, do you realize who has the top 2 picks in the draft next year right now?
Yeah.
The Bears. So Caleb Williams and Marvin. Now, I don't know if they have a coach that knows what to do with them. So that would be kind of a.
Do you stay at school if you're Caleb Williams if the Bears have the number 1 pick? I would.
He's got a lot of NIL money sitting there. I'm sure United Airlines or whoever it was that gave Jordan Addison the bag,
right?
They would give Caleb Williams.
He was in
stay in school.
I was watching the game. He was in a Wendy's commercial. So
he's in like 5 of them. And he's in Dr. Pepper. He's in.
It's still weird to me though, like to see college kids like actually in commercials. I'm like, good for you, but it's just weird. The Chiefs, like, when is it gonna get old for the NFL to like not cut away to Taylor Swift immediately after the Chiefs score a touchdown? I saw that yesterday. It was after I think the Pacheco touchdown, where like the first cutaway was to Taylor Swift, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, I understand you're catering to a new audience and everyone's tuning in to see Taylor, who was with like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and like Blake Lively, and no one like cared at all that they were in there. They're like, oh, her friend.
I had a buddy texting me. He's like, Deadpool and Wolverine are there. I'm like, okay.
Right,
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
when does it? And her movie comes out. I just looked it up on October 13th. So is this all going to go away after that when her movie comes out, or?
Well, look at who the Chiefs have played. So you're with me. You think it's a work in wrestling terms?
I want to.
Are they going to be forever? Are they going to go down in flames at them?
I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, but it's just too coincidental. A lot of things that are happening and things that are coming in the future. But if it's legit, then fine, go ahead. But it seemed to oddly pick up steam, right before the Chiefs were playing the Bears, which no one was going to watch. And then the Chiefs were playing the Jets, which no one was going to watch. And I saw like that more people watched that game than that was the second most watched game compared to the Super Bowl last year. If she wasn't there, that doesn't happen. So it's just very coincidental. If it's for real, fine. And we'll probably find out, if they're still together by Thanksgiving, then great. Then enjoy your life together. But
by the Super Bowl, I think they're splits. But
they don't
gossip talk on the Viking Age podcast.
Well, I don't know. Like, have you seen Travis Kelce's ex-girlfriends? Like, Taylor Swift just doesn't fit the mold of what he's dated in the past. And maybe he just wants, try something new, or he, just likes her personality, or
he's unlocked like a new level of popularity too.
Oh yeah. He's
like
I told you,
he'll be on TMZ the rest. I think you said this to me. He'll be on TMZ the rest of his life.
Yeah. Like Kevin Federline, like we shouldn't even know who that is. And we still find out stuff about him because he was married to Britney Spears.
Like, he's got to win over John Cena.
Right.
Like exactly. Vince McMahon has a win over God.
I mean, hey, wait, where's WrestleMania this year? Philadelphia? Jason Kelce is going to be there. You know he is. He is. And probably Travis. They're going to be there. They're going to be there.
They're going to have a tag match.
Especially with the way, it's what's it, TKO now? They're actually like a legit company now, and they're all about publicity. So yeah, those two are going to be at WrestleMania for sure.
So yeah. Chiefs Vikings. I don't know. We've like danced around the actual game, just like, and I mean, as we get later into the week,
it's Monday.
Dive into it. It is Monday.
A lot can happen. We can, Garrett Bradbury can practice every day and then be inactive again on Sunday, like he has been doing this whole. Okay, he's now moved into the like probably the biggest mistake of the offseason. Like Marcus Davenport, no more, because he came out and proved everyone wrong. But re-signing Garrett Bradbury, wow, he's played 7 snaps this year?
I think it was great. 4.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
For an injury that he had last year?
Yeah. Had to get him back. Just had to get him back. Hey, how about Edge showing up in AEW, huh?
Who?
Just super quick. Oh, yeah. Adam Copeland.
Yeah, MJF over here.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, but it's cool. It was cool that he turned on Christian. But I did see a tweet today that was like, of course, when Christian is, having a bunch of success finally in wrestling again, he's overshadowed by Edge, which has just been the story of his entire career, and it happened again. But I'm curious. I think it's going to go a lot better than when CM Punk was over there. I think it's not going to be hard to do that.
And similar to my rants about Taylor's, Edge seems like jacked, like genuinely.
Well, it's something new.
And granted, too, he's probably getting a big ass check from Tony Khan, but I mean, I'd be smiling too. But he's excited, and I think that's cool. I mean, for wrestling fans like you and I, something a little.
Isn't it also funny though how like every new person who comes over, I feel like from WWE wants to work with like Darby Allin's like the first person they want to work with because CM Punk did it. Edge did it now. Did Bryan Danielson? No, he did Kenny Omega. But like everyone's like, yeah, I want to work with that guy.
He's gonna fight Luchasaurus in 2 weeks.
That bump he took on the stairs was, oh my god, like that. Like, how do you even recover from that?
He got messed up on that. I know wrestling's like 90% fake. That
fake.
wasn't fake.
No.
That looked like it hurt.
It was.
That was a real banger.
He's very good at what he does. I just hope he doesn't ruin his career by taking a crazy bump, but he probably will. So.
Let's we've been off the rails for basically an hour now.
That's how it goes on the Viking Age podcast.
What's going on at the Viking Age?
Hey, we get to write about a win this week. So instead of writing about disappointments and people who need to be benched, we get to write about the best players and things that went well. So that's kind of exciting. Nobody's getting fired this week, so that's exciting. But yeah, and then we'll be previewing the Chiefs game, which I just really hope that Jim Nantz and Tony Romo are not the broadcast team, but I have a strong feeling that they are because it's 4:00 game, or I guess 3:00 game on in Central Time on CBS. So
Jim,
Justin Jefferson versus Patrick Mahomes, and the chance of Taylor Swift being there. Yeah, god damn it, it's gonna be Tony Romo.
You know what, too, though? I mean, Minnesota fans are going through it when it comes to announcers this week. The Twins start their playoff series. Tuesday. And did you see who the announcers are?
A-Rod.
Yep.
Because he owns the Timberwolves, right? So it's kind of
yes, he does. Yes,
but he played for the Yankees, so
yes. We're not liking.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for the Twins because the Padres suck, and they can't make the playoffs even though they bought half the league. But I'll be rooting for the Twins to get at least one win. Just snap that streak.
Michael Kay is the play-by-play guy, by the way, and he is
no
play-by-play guy. So he did mention he's like, yeah, but A-Rod was on the team when the Twins won their last playoff game. So there is that.
He was on the Yankees team.
He was on the Yankees. Yes, that's what he's saying.
One of the years
A-Rod was on
suspended?
the Yankees. 2004.
It was that long ago. Wow.
I was a junior in high school. So
yeah, so was I.
Please win a game. Like just win one game. And
just
if it happens, big old celebration. Where can people follow you on Twitter, by the way? You can celebrate with them.
Straight
X
STR8 _ cash _ homie on Twitter. And you can follow the Viking Age at the Viking Age on Twitter and on Facebook. And I think that's it. We don't have a Threads account yet. We don't have Instagram. We do have a YouTube account.
Yes, where you can watch every episode of the Viking Age every Monday and Thursday right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also on Apple and Spotify the very next day. And don't forget to rate, comment, like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad, and we'll talk to you next time on the Viking Age podcast.